Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is A.R. Caffley, and these are the further adventures of Russel Miranda, Gunslinger. I took the time to find a kind of one of my tokens. It kind of looked like our Custine, and a kind of a handy old rickety looking oil rig to use as a backdrop. So now we will continue those adventures as we left off. Russell had put a hole in Diana Gomez's skull. She was an enthralled slave, and as he was pondering what to do with the sludge puddle, something arose on a pedestal hooked up to it, and it has some kind of robotic looking eyes, some kind of cyborg eyes or something, and gaunt corpse like skin. And it stepped forward and said it was going to make Russell pay for killing Diana. Russell is standing there with an unlit stick of dynamite in one hand and one of his big irons in the other. She gathered lives for me so I could heal. I have been recuperating, rebuilding my body in that sludge since time long past. Since times of your eld. I was one of the monsters I'm sure that you have heroic stories about. But your sire was a murdering bastard. But I'm glad that I will get to take my eons of dreamed revenge out on one of his own. Heil, Gunslinger, I recognize you. I see you very well. And he sniffs the air. But the blood is thin. The blood is thin. Are you just a bondsman, wearing big boots and a big hat you stole from your father's closet? Well, Russell Miranda doesn't like that too much. So I think I'm going to use this as an opportune time for him to use his quirk, his anger quirk. One, to grant him a Ka token. And two, because, well, that's just how he would be. He's angry. He's an angry young man, angry young gunslinger. I'm no Ka baby. I have earned these rights by the way, as the Eld have sent forth. I traveled triumphantly to the east, wearing my guns as a true gunslinger. You monster of sludge. You cowardly shit-sitting thing. Hiding away. Murdering people. What makes you think you even deserve to walk these lands? And in anger, what does he do? Well, maybe he will try to rush forward, and he's hoping to maybe catch him off guard, but really it's just out of anger. He could sit there and shoot him, but his anger is physical, so he's going to try to maybe kick that thing back towards the sludge patch. So he rushes and or shoulders him somehow. Now, unfortunately, his quirk is anger. What it does is it increases the difficulty. Now, he's actually just charging the guy, which is going to be a brawny roll. He should stay back and try to shoot him, but instead he's going to take it personal and he's going to attack physically. That will be the manifestation of his anger perk, which is going to put him in a bad way if he's not, if he's not careful. The quirk will give him back 1 caw. All right, so he gets 1 caw back, and he's going to now make a brawny roll as he tries to tackle this dude and kick him back. But the difficulty is 6. Because it'd normally be 5, but this is going to make it 6. Okay. 0 successes. So he gets his caw point back, but in response, the creature, the ancient god, Kark, reaches out and lifts Russell up, grabs him by the throat and lifts him up. Russell is going to try to free himself now that his temper has been cooled by sudden strangulation. Let's say it's average, since he's wrestling. The guy's tough, but he's trying to get out of the way here. Okay, excellent, good. So he gets 2 successes, so that's an excellent success. I can't remember what they call it. Not a critical, maybe, but whatever. It's a good success. So Russell is able to, as he is lifted up, struggling to breathe, his tongue starting to bulge. He can't pull it away. He ends up having to drop the stick of dynamite, though, as he's sitting struggling, trying to pull the thing away. And then he takes his pistol in his one hand and puts it up to the forearm of the beast and blows a hole in its forearm. And Kark screams in rage, but he releases Russell, and Russell rolls away and gets out of range now that he's dropped his dynamite at the thing's feet. He considers shooting it, but he's still awful close to it. So instead, he's going to draw both guns and start shooting. Now this ancient baddie, he's got 3. These are the effort tokens right here. He's got 3 of those, so he's going to have to get 3 successes. I think in this case, even though he did get 2 successes with his escape, that this monster is tough. Now he's moving, he's ancient, and he's wily, and he's very strong. But Russell is going to try to keep his distance, running around various oil rigs and shooting, because the thing lifted him up off the ground, and he's no small kid. So we'll make that 6 as Russell fires, boom, boom, and the creature is slow, screams in rage and chases him around. All right. He misses. He thinks he got some in there, but maybe the bullets either did not affect or they passed through without doing much. And Kark is tall, and he's got long legs, and he tries to catch up to Russell. But as Russell's throwing him, Kark finds a piece of metal that is like an old pipe, and he hurls it at Russell like a spear. Russell's going to try to dodge out of the way. Difficulty 5. All right, he dodges out of the way. Just in the nick of time, he leaps aside as this rusty pipe, its twisted tip, punctures into the side of some metal cabinet that's laying there where Russell was trying to run around to keep distance. And as this thing continues to run, Russell continues to fire. And I'm going to leave it at difficulty 6. This guy's pretty tough. He's tough. He's an elder or whatever he is. Oof, no good. Almost a botch. So Russell is not able to get a good shot. The thing, Kark, we'll call him Kark for short, is fast. He's as he. I'm not sure where that random extra die roll came from, but anyway, this giant beast is with his long legs is able to take these quick steps that belies his size, and he ducks and jumps and he gets behind a old metal the remains of some kind of metal shed, and Russell is not able to get a good shot off on him, and he comes rushing around trying to get a clinch on Russell. Russell is going to try to keep the distance. So that's going to be like an agility. He's going to try to keep out of the way. He's going to keep trying to run around like a kid's game of tag. He's trying to keep out of the reach of this thing's monstrous shanks. All right. And once again, he does with a success. He ducks aside as Kark reaches out, and he's going to try to plug him again. But the giant man is moving even almost before Russell gets a good aim on him. Oh, and there we go. An extreme success. So Russell, he predicts where Kark is running to. Kark ducks, but Russell doesn't fall for it, and he empties the remainder of his revolvers, boom, 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 2 or 3 shots each, into this ancient, terrifying creature's body, and one of the bullets shatters Karkustan's right cyborg eye, sending sparks and a cloud of blue flame up. Karkustan screams, and in rage, he grabs a rusted, twisted oil barrel that is full of something. It has weight. It's probably old, disgusting water, contaminated water from being in exposure laying out here for untold generations, and he hurls it at Russell, and Russell can do nothing but try to jump out of the way as this huge thing flies at him. Now that's going to be his double successes. That's going to get rid of 2 of those things. And now he's got to try to evade this barrel. See, I'm going to give that. No, I was thinking about increasing the difficulty, but that would kind of be punishing Russell for rolling very well. So we'll just let him do that. All right, so he barely leaps aside. And now he's running through, dodging as he's trying to reload as he goes. But he's not. He can reload his gun like any other gunslinger, but it's not a simple thing to do, especially while he's running. Let's see. Can he reload his gun before this monster catches up to him? Because now this thing is bellowing and screaming, and it's not even trying to duck around things anymore, trying to leap over things, getting to Russell. It's just grabbing them and hurling them aside or hurling them at him. I'm going to give him just a regular difficulty 5 to see if he can reload his guns in a quick manner. Okay, so he does. He waits. He's on the upside now as the battle rage, the battle fury is descending. Everything before his eyes is turning red as he is remembering the face of his father, as he's remembering his training, remembering the hours and hours of drilling and being whipped and smacked whenever he messed up. And his guns are both loaded. And as the beast tears down the remains of a fence that Russell had leapt through to keep his distance, Russell slams in the last cartridge, spins his cylinders, and goes to town. Boom, 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 boom. I'm still gonna make him difficulty 6 shot, but see if Ka will stay with Russel Miranda. It will, because he's going to use some Ka. How about that? All right, so the beast, as Russell can't miss at this range, but he notices the bullets. He's walking the bullets up this beast's dead flesh, his dead-looking flesh. There's no splatter of blood coming out. It's just opening these wet holes in its skin, almost like shooting a pile of clay. And it's coming forward, and right as it's about to reach, right as it's about to get its reaching hands around Russel Miranda's neck, Russell puts the one pistol into its other eye socket, and fires. The other eye explodes in a shower of sparks and glass, and it screams, and its hands shoot up to its face as he's screaming in pain and fury. And Russell takes that time to duck out of the way. Now, he doesn't know, really. He doesn't know, really, if the creature can't see without its eyes. It's some kind of strange beast. Maybe it can sense Russell's life force. He doesn't know. So he jumps away, and he continues to put bullets in the thing, and most of them just thud into it, just leaving wet holes. But some of them are starting to ooze a little. But it's not blood. It looks like that black sludge. And as it starts to ooze out, instead of dripping and running down like blood would, it comes out in the shape of little black tentacles that wriggle and twist, and then start to fill up the holes, not replacing them, but just filling them up. And as Russell looks on in horror, more and more of these little black, curling, reaching tentacles are sprouting from the holes that he's blown into Kark Ustan. And Kark Ustan, he's still screaming, still clutching at his sparking eyes. And he begins to run at Russell. Russell tries to leap out of the way, but Kark Ustan knocks him aside. And as Russell rolls, his gun's ready to shoot, he realizes that Kark Ustan is not coming after him. He is racing back towards the sludge. Well, Russell doesn't know exactly what that means, but he doesn't like it. So he's going to continue. He's going to start putting more bullets in this thing's back. Okay, so he's seeing the bullets hit. Boom, thump, boom, thump, boom, boom, thump, thump. And every time a bullet punches into this creature's flesh, these black tentacles come out and plug the hole. And then Russell sees as the beast on its long legs is racing towards the opening, almost like it can still see. As he races towards the opening to the sludge pool, Russell notices the stick of dynamite that he dropped. And he is going to, he's far enough away, he hopes. He's going to try to hit that and make it explode. I was going to go Google to see if you could actually shoot dynamite and make it explode, but I think it's just such a powerful trope that the Dark Tower will allow it to explode if he can hit it. But trying to make the shot right at the exact time and get it to explode, I'm going to make that a 6. I'm going to make that a 6. For cinematic sake, I should probably just make it easy. I mean, he is a gunslinger who can shoot small things like that, but for cinematic effect. And he may hit it, and maybe it won't. Maybe he won't hit it at the right time. 6. Okay. So he shoots, and he does hit it, but the dynamite just doesn't go off. It spins and bounces and skips as the bullets hit it, and Russell growls in frustration as Arkustan leaps into the black sludge and sinks beneath. God damn it! Russell cusses, and he quickly reloads. He looks at the dynamite. It's shot. It's not even useful as dynamite. It wouldn't even explode properly now. He doesn't think. But he's got 2 more. And as he pulls it out, he's got 1 pistol out. This time he actually does light himself a cigarette, eyeing the sludge patch carefully, waiting for that thing's head to come up so he can put a bullet in it. Now he's sitting there with his pistol at the sludge patch, cigarette in his lips, and a stick of dynamite in his left hand. Well, gods, I don't know what to do. Let's see. I'm going to say it's unlikely because this has gone on pretty fast. A lot of shooting. So someone may have been writing quickly. I'm going to say on a 5 or a 6, Lucas Rivera, the other gunslinger in town, shows up. And then maybe they can have a little palaver. Okay, excellent. So as he's sitting there, he's smoking his cigarette, pondering. He knows he doesn't want to take too long because he doesn't know how long that sludge obviously has some kind of dark glam or some old world magic that is healing this creature, that is healing the god. So he doesn't want to take too long, but he doesn't want to do something foolish. And as he's pondering, just about ready to light the stick of dynamite, he hears horses racing into the oil patch behind him, and he looks and he sees Lucas followed by a handful of deputies and the high sheriff this time. And Lucas reins up next to him and says, and looks around. He sees Diana Gomez on the ground, dead, bullet in her skull. And he turns back to Russell and smirks. That's a lot of bullets for one hole in a little girl's head. There's something living in there. There's some kind of old world beast or demon or something. It just jumped back in there. And Lucas looks around. He sees the casings that Russell has dropped on the ground as he was reloading. He sees the destruction, and he sees the heavy prints, a lot of them still outlined with the black sludge. Truly? What'd he look like? He looked like a giant corpse with some kind of spark bulb eyes. Spark bulb eyes? That's right. I shot them both out. I filled that son of a bitch with bullets. And he's got a bunch of that sludge inside him, and that sludge just, I don't know, just filled it up. It's like shooting mud. Well, I guess there's only one thing to do then, Russell. Sheriff, in the name of Gilead, we're going to blow this pile of shit to the sky. And Lucas grabs his own stick of dynamite. And leans the fuse towards Russell. Well, you get on your horse there. We'll toss these things, and then we'll run. Russell nods, whistles Ensign over, hops on Ensign, takes a long draw on his cigarette to make sure the cherry's nice and hot, and then he holds his fuse to it, and Lucas holds his fuse to it as well. The two fuses sputter to life at the same time, and they throw the two sticks of dynamite into the sludge. The sludge itself is not overly flammable, but so it does not ignite once the fuses hit it, but the fuses are continuing to burn as they kind of sit on top of this thick sludge. Let's go, go! Russell yells, and as he takes off, he realizes that everybody else is already headed that way. So he's pulling drogue as all of the riders, the high sheriff, the deputies, and Lucas are racing across the oil field. And as they reach the gate, they hear two distinct explosions, one right after the other. As they look over their shoulders, they see a fountain of black sludge flying to the air. I don't think it's likely that this sludge is going to explode or cause some kind of chain reaction. One, because I don't think, given the roles and everything that happened, or at least as I envisioned it, that this sludge was really more of kind of a healing mix of some kind, or maybe it was petroleum based, but not necessarily flammable. I'm going to say that this thing only causes a greater explosion or secondary explosion on a one, only on a one. Okay. So as they watch the black glops fall to the ground and splat here and there, some landing very close to where they are. They all look around, grimacing, waiting for something else to explode. But it doesn't. Well, let's go see what we did, Russell says. And he puts one hand on a pistol and the other on he holds Ensign's reins with, and they trot cautiously back to the sludge hole. As they approach, they see that a bunch of the sludge has been blown out of the hole, revealing the ruined remains of that pedestal, which looked like some kind of metal frame now twisted and blown apart, still covered with the sludge that's in there. And what of Karkustan? I think it's pretty likely that he was probably not able to live through that explosion. 2 sticks of dynamite dropped on you like depth charges. Even if you are some ancient old world creation, might be too much. So I'm going to say on anything except a 1 or a 2 that it did him in. So 3, 4, 5, or 6 is good for our gunslingers. Oh, yeah. Okay. What they see is almost spread eagle plastered up against the side of the remains of this hole that had the sludge in it is Karkustan's body, or what's left of it. They can see bony ribs that look like they're lined with metal of some kind. His jaw and the front of his faceplate is gone, revealing some bloody circuit packs that had been behind his faceplate. And there are tiny little tendrils weakly rubbing and trying to put him back together. But they soon stop moving and fall off of his body, whatever it is that was healing him, whatever the source of the strange power, lost all of its strength. Russell flicks the butt of his cigarette into the hole, the stain, and looks over at Lucas. Look at that. Have you ever seen the like? I've seen some weird things there, Russell. I say that you definitely remembered the face of your father if you fought that. I'll make sure that Gilead gets a full report. Well, I'll be honest, I don't trust that. So Russell pulls out his last stick of dynamite, looks questioningly at Lucas. Lucas shrugs, lights his own cigarette. Sheriff, might want to take your old man back again. And so they ride off. Russell lights it from Lucas's cigarette and casually tosses it into what is effectively Karkustan's lap, and they ride on. A moment later, there's another boom. More black sludge flies into the air. This time a couple of pieces fall and splatter on Russell's hat and his duster. He considers going and looking back, but he just shakes his head. Let's go. And they ride back to Taunton. They find the mayor speaking to the town and a bunch of, in the town square, and a bunch of very confused looking people as the mayor is describing what has happened and describing his part in the affair with a little extra imagination, a little extra credit about his part in it all. And Russell just shakes his head, and Lucas chuckles. Yep. It takes a certain kind of fella to be a good politician, don't it? Russell nods. And since it's getting ready to get dark, Russell cleans himself up. He and the high sheriff and Lucas, they all have a nice dinner at one of the finer places in town. And as Russell mounts his horse the next day, mounts Ensign, and ties Bear up to follow behind, Lucas tosses him a rifle. It's a nice rifle. I want you to take this from me, Russell. You showed some grit. You remembered the face of your father. That there repeater rifle, they say it goes back a long ways. I don't know if it goes all the way back to Eld himself. But it's a beauty. It's been kept up fine by the people, the sheriffs of Taunton. It's officially part of the Gunslinger Armory, so you should bring it back someday if you ever happen to come through. But I think, sir, that you have definitely earned that rifle. It'll give you some good long shots. It's accurate. Well, Russell, I know that your mission ain't to stay in this old piece of shit town, so fair trails. Long days and pleasant nights. And to you twice the number. Be well. And with that, Russell rides off into the sunrise, wondering if he'll ever see Taunton again, wondering if he'll ever see Lucas Riviera again. Only Kyle will tell. All right. I like that. That was pretty fun. I didn't quite follow the whole, the solo game procedure, but it gave me enough of an outline that I just went with the story that popped in my head around it. So I'm not going to worry about counting up wins and fails, but since he blew up the big bad, I just call that a win. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Happy gaming.